Every time I get a new BMW in that I haven't really experienced before, I'm always pleasantly surprised after looking at them, after driving them. And I shouldn't be. I remember the first M1 I ever drove, spectacular car. I really wasn't expecting it to be a supercar, but when I got out of it, I said, I get it. I understand why people rave about these cars. It was really a fun car to drive. When I first started racing chump cars, I raced first an E30, then an E36. And what I couldn't believe is they're boxy sports cars. They've never had that sort of, you know, Porsche Mystique or a Ferrari or any of that sort of stuff. But from a performance point of view, they're very impressive cars. That E30 and E36, yeah, it rolled over a little, but man, it handled unbelievably well. The car was super durable. We did a 25-hour race in one of those cars. We didn't finish, but we made it to the 24th and a half hour in one of those cars. Very impressive cars. And they're fun, they're tough, they're really good looking. They're just not as sexy as a Porsche. And I think the 2002 Turbo is exactly the same. And it's kind of the beginning of that whole BMW M series. It wasn't an M car yet, but it really had that motorsport feel to it. When they first started out with the 1602, it was basically a 1600cc two-door for the 2 Series, then it became an 18.2, and then the 2002, which is a 2-liter, 4-cylinder, overhead cam. Then they had the fuel injection, and then between 73 and 75, for a couple of years, they had the turbo unit. And it really is a good-looking car, and it's kind of a wild car when you think about it. One, it was the first European turbocharged car. Yes, North American had turboed a few cars, but it was really the first one that got that whole turbo deal going. And it also created a lot of those turbo problems, like the turbo lag, and people started associating turbos with this sort of performance. But look at the car. They only came in 2 colors. They built 1,672 cars. It was either silver or it was white. It really didn't have many options. This one has most of them. It's got the 5-speed, 4-speed was standard. It has the rear glass defogger in the back, which was an option. And it's got this little script in the front, Turbo 2002, but it's backwards. It's so on the Autobahn, you'd look in your rear view mirror and you knew something special was coming, get out of the left lane. Now I wish that was something that, you know, most people over here in North America realize that left lane is just for passing, and in Europe they knew that already. But what was really interesting is all of this happened in 73, 4, and 5. This was the beginning of the oil embargo, the oil crisis. For BMW to basically put this loud thing, no front bumper, the flares that are riveted on, the rear spoiler, the big turbo in your face, and the graphics. While there's an oil embargo going on and oil and gas is going through the roof, they've now limited the speed on the Autobahn to 100 kilometers an hour. London's got certain days you can only drive. It was a real problem. They had to tone it down. That's the reason they only made 1,672. When you think about it, they built well over 300,000 2002s, but only a handful got this package. So what makes this thing so unique? Well, obviously it's the turbo unit. Let's have a look. So tidy little engine bay, nothing really to it. You gotta remember, these are pretty lightweight cars. It was over 1,000, just over 1,000 kilograms, so about 2,400 pounds, 4-cylinder, 2-liter, fuel injected, and a triple K turbocharger on it. And again, this was the beginning of the turbo era. So it had the typical stand on the gas pedal with this motor. It did nothing until 4,000 RPM. It had under a 1.7 compression ratio to keep it from knocking its head right off, literally. And then once you got into the boost, well, it came to life. It made 170 horsepower. It really worked in a little car. But it was an interesting car to drive that you had to really get comfortable with. If you were on the track and you came out of a corner and you're below 4,000 RPM and you're not into the boost, it just didn't work. Heaven forbid you were halfway in the corner, loaded up, and that boost kicked in, especially in the rain with these little tires. It's got, 13-inch wheels and a fair bit of sidewall. It's gonna slide around. It was a fun, interesting car to drive, and it was the beginning of that whole M-Series BMW. Even has that look, that iconic look. Let's take it for a spin. I'm going to tell you what I like and don't like about the car and tell you what's unique about the interior. When you get in the car, it's got a really neat little interior. The bucket seats really hold you. It's got the sports seats. It's got a plain dash. It's got these extra 2 gauges. One is the boost gauge and one is just an analog clock. And then the dash here has this unique red dash panel, unique only to the turbo cars. Steering wheel and everything is very basic inside. Like I said, it's got the optional 5-speed. Plain interior, relatively lightweight. Nothing special, but fun little interior. Very reminiscent of every BMW. So obviously no power steering in this, which is what you wouldn't expect. And same thing, no power brakes. It's got a very nice feedback. There's no rack and pinion. It's an old box. It's an old worm and sector box really in it. So you get a little bit of that sloppy sort of feeling. But all in all, it's still a pretty tight car. You got to remember, this is 1973. And this is typical of the turbo cars. So from 2,000 to 4,000 RPM, it's not doing anything. And then when you hit 4,000, it comes to life and really wants to pull. And you hear that little bit of a whistle. There's no, variable valve timing. There's nothing exotic. There's no blow-off valves. There's, nothing like a modern turbocharger where you would feel like, hey, there is really no lag. What are these guys talking about, turbo lag? Well, these are the cars that really started that whole discussion. And the early Porsches, same thing, a lot of turbo lag. You had to be careful on how you drove those cars. Again, we're just under 3,000. I can go flat to the floor. And then it comes to life, 4,000. So at a racetrack, it's one of those cars that you really want to get comfortable with the car. You want to know where the turbo's kicking in. You want to know where the lag's going to be. You want to almost bury the gas pedal or get on the gas pedal a second or two earlier before you need it. And I'm sure it's one of those cars that once you get comfortable with, it's really a pleasure to drive and really rewarding to drive once you come to terms with it. This car has had a total restoration in Europe. I mean, ground up, top to bottom, every nut and bolt. It's one of those cars that you get in it and just everything is new. It's super tight, it drives really well. It'd be a fun car to go on a lapping day. It'd be a fun car to go on a tour with. It's just one of those cars that, works very well. You hear that little whistle just as you lift off. Like I said, it's 170 horsepower in a 2,400 pound car. It works pretty good. This is almost the perfect weather too. It's just starting to rain. If you were at a track, this is where this car would really shine. It's a nimble, fun little car. It's got those small little wheels and it's one of those cars that's got enough body roll just to get onto the tire properly and really plant it. It's one of the things I've always liked about BMWs is they do have body roll, but they really work quite nicely. So it's a good highway car. I think top speed back in the day was over 200 kilometers an hour. It was like 135 miles an hour. And again, for 73, during the insurance, the oil embargo, and all of that era, it was a pretty cool car. So for years and years, these cars really didn't do anything as far as collectability and value, even though, like I said, super rare car, especially out of Europe. I mean, it became far more significant over there than it did over here. And it really took BMW to another level. They were a fun touring car. They had a lot of performance. And again, that M series came about later, but it was really driven off the back of the 2002 Turbo, both the look and the feel and the performance. So as far as values go, like I said, they weren't really a respected car up until a few years ago. They were relatively expensive cars because relatively rare to get the original parts. So they were relatively expensive, to restore, to find the parts. But they never really hit their stride until maybe about 8-9 years ago. And then they just skyrocketed. And really now for a ground up restored like this, of course the cost of restorations have skyrocketed too. So it's not surprising that they're commanding the dollars they are. But I mean, one sold last year for almost 200. Another one did sell for 200, over 200 on Bring a Trailer. They're a very interesting car. $200,000 2002 turbo. I'm not sure that's sustainable, but I'll tell you what, they probably cost that to restore to this level. This is a really impressive car. When you take down a car to its bare shell, start over, do all the metal work if it requires it. This is a nice rust-free car, but doing all the metal work, all the paint work, rebuilding all of the mechanicals, you know, especially a turbocharged car, it's not a cheap car to rebuild. This one has the optional 5-speed, all the trim work, all the upholstery. It's not hard to get to $200,000 restoring it. So I kind of get where those numbers are coming from. Now there's a big spread between good and great, and it's only the ones that are at this level that are going to command $150,000 to $200,000. Like I said, I'm always impressed and always come out of a little BMW with a smile on my face. A lot of fun, a rewarding car if you drive it aggressively and well and understand where the boost is coming in and where it's not. It'd be a really fun little track car, but it's a great touring car too. Is it one of those cars that is on my bucket list? It is. It's one of those cars that's just a ton of fun to drive. And I think with 1,672 built, there's some upside still.
If you want to see more car content like this, make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to visit our website to explore our curated inventory of luxury, classic, and investment grade cars.